Number 1. Edits in space. Could NASA be editing the footage sent down from the International Space Station? This theory is hot among conspiracists. The idea really started to gain traction in July 2016. Two different cameras 25 hours apart spotted a distinct square shape larger than the Earth. Initially, UFO hunters concluded that it had to be some kind of unidentified object in our orbit. But another theory surfaced that the shapes were actually attempts by NASA to edit something else out. Could it be meteors or a cover-up of something NASA has determined we are not ready to see yet? NASA was forced to deny that they didn't attempt to cover up. But UFO hunters will never rest until the truth is revealed, even if it has been already, so we don't really know what's true. Number 2. The Gordo UFO. I suppose it's not too hard to guess that Major Gordo Cooper was a lover of all things space. But it turns out that his adoration goes deeper than that. In 1957, 30-year-old Cooper was test pilot and project manager of the fighter section of the Experimental Flight Test Engineering Division at Edwards AFB in California. Two members of his crew one morning mentioned to him that they caught sight of a strange saucer-like object. It apparently didn't make a sound as it landed and took off. The two men took photos of the craft, and Cooper was ordered to have the film developed, have no prints made, and send it right away to the Pentagon. He was also instructed not to look, but of course he did. He saw exactly what the two men described and to his very deathbed insisted the government was covering it up. But not only that. On his 1963 solo trip he had a close encounter that was broadcasted on NBC. He saw a glowing green object approaching and it was picked up on radar. But when he got to Earth, he wasn't allowed to talk about it. Number 3. Bright lights and beyond. It might surprise you to learn that not only do we have a ton of garbage down here on Earth, but a ton of space junk sits just above us. In fact, the estimate for just how much is staggering. Around 128 million pieces. About 6,000 tons of space debris in space. Earth's low orbit carries millions of rocket and spacecraft fragments along with dead satellites. Each one is flying around 18,000 miles per hour. So faster than a bullet. Yeah. So the likelihood of astronauts encountering space debris is pretty high. But this one example is pretty staggering. But that doesn't stop this case from being very strange. Brent Jett was in the STS-115 mission in 2006 on his way to help construct the ISM. But then he noticed, and I quote, some kind of a reflective structure, unquote, outside the shuttle. According to him, quote, it doesn't look like anything I've ever seen outside of the shuttle, that's for sure, unquote. NASA took control of the camera and there were 3 bright objects in the sky. When they ordered an inspection of the craft, they saw nothing. Not even a hint. Space junk or aliens? NASA has no explanation and they won't talk about it. So what is it? Number 4. Space music. According to the Guinness Book of World Records, the first song played in space was Jingle Bells on the 16 December 1965. It was broadcasted during NASA's Gemini GA space flight. Though there have been several musicians played out there in the big space ever since, there remains an artist unknown. Eugene Cernan, in the Apollo 10 space capsule, reported hearing a strange kind of music during a mission. What he described as a strange musical whistling sound, like how you would imagine space music to be, like the I Can't Do It. Just imagine. Very sci-fi. He reached out to NASA Mission Control to see if they'd heard it too. According to the mission transcripts released in 2008, the sounds were recorded. Of course, alien theories have spread far and wide, but NASA made no comment. Then, in the Apollo 11, Michael Collins recorded hearing the same sound while orbiting the moon. This time, NASA was prepared. They said it was, and I quote, interference between the LMS and command modules. VHS radios, unquote. Sure, it was NASA.